It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. Life on relationship blow. What's going on over there? It's none of my business, I know, but I couldn't help but notice. Looks like psychosis. We live on relationship road.
Colin has been tense all day, and now that it's time for him to go home, he finds himself even more anxious. He considers buying a bottle of wine on the way home, or a bunch of flowers for Sally, but decides against it in case it makes him look guilty. He has no idea whether the Joanna who had contacted his wife for an appointment is the same Joanna that he knows. And if it is her, he has no idea whether she will have divulged their sordid secret, because that is how he sees it. He drives slowly and tries to prepare himself for the worst. All he can do, he has decided, is to come clean and beg for forgiveness, though he isn't confident that Sally would be that forgiving. As Colin enters his house, he calls out, as he always does, "Hello, I'm home." Sally comes towards him and gives him a quick kiss, as she usually does. Colin sighs with relief. It must be okay, he thinks. "How was your day?" he asks, trying to sound casual. He takes his jacket off and sits at the breakfast bar to chat with his wife. "Oh, it was fine, but the new client was a waste of time. At least I think she was wasting my time," replies Sally, and she goes on to tell Colin about the strange meeting that she had experienced with Joanna. Colin has thought this through, and so he says carefully, "So what was she like? What did she look like, this Joanna?" "Well, she was quite tall and fairly elegant looking. Stephen thought her rather glamorous, but I thought she looked more like a tart," says Sally coldly. "I wonder if she is the one who works in my firm. To be honest, I've never taken that much notice of her, but the description seems to fit. She's always trying to flirt with the younger chaps," says Colin, praying that if anything comes out at a later date, he would be able to lie convincingly about his affiliation with Joanna. "Well, she didn't mention you to me when we actually met. In fact, I don't really understand why she came to see me at all," says Joanna. "I thought she was rather peculiar and not really interested in my work at all. I'll be happy not to see her again, I think. But on a more positive note, I had an inquiry from a lovely older couple who are having their home refurbished. They are really sweet, and I'm looking forward to planning out a design theme for them." "At least they know what they don't like, so that's a good start," Sally effuses. Colin doesn't know whether to feel relieved or scared. He can't help wondering just what Joanna is playing at. He's fairly confident from Sally's description that it is Joanna from work. So what's she up to? He begins to wonder if she will try to blackmail him. He has already decided that he won't play ball with that one. He feels that his only option is to discredit her as a liar if she ever tries to accuse him of anything. He knows that this isn't right, but he can't see any other way out of the mess that he has gotten himself into. "It's all her fault anyway for not letting me go," he tells himself. Mary from number 2 has spoken to Marissa almost every day since she left for Portugal. They discuss the health of Marissa's father and of the COVID-19 risk, and of Marissa, who is now self-isolating herself from her parents for 14 days, just in case she is carrying the virus. For Marissa, this is so hard because all she wants to do is get into the hospital and see her father, but she dare not visit him until she knows that she won't be putting him at further risk. Her mother tells her that they think he may have breast cancer. The hospital has carried out a biopsy. Breast cancer is not something usually associated with men, but Marissa knows that men can get this the same as women do, although it is much rarer. Her mother keeps her well informed and tells her that the hospital is checking to make sure that the cancer has not spread to any of the other organs. He went into hospital with a severe chest infection and breathing difficulties, and that was when the painless lump was detected. Naturally, they tested for COVID-19, but it seems that although he has a severe chest infection, thankfully it's not the coronavirus. However, the hospital is taking no chances and he is being kept in isolation. Marissa hopes that he will be home soon, and assuming that, by then she is no risk to him. She will be able to nurse him back to health and give her mother a much-needed break. All of this means that Mary is on her own, but she feels quite pleased with herself. She is continuing to have her counselling sessions, and this is giving her the strength she needs to finally tell her two boys, Ricky in Australia and John in Germany, that she intends to make a life for herself with Marissa. She is worried about their reaction to this news, but the counsellor has helped her to see that it is her life and future that is at stake, not theirs. They apparently have made their own lives in other countries. Mary is getting a bit nervous. In just 5 minutes she will be getting a Skype call from Ricky in Australia. She has decided to tell him first for two reasons. Firstly, he is the eldest boy, and secondly, he has never been as easily influenced by his father as John sometimes has in the past. Mary is worried enough about what her boys will think without having to worry about what her ex-husband will say. But her counsellor has helped her to get her thinking into perspective about this. And so now she realises that it doesn't really matter what her ex thinks. She never has to see him again anyway. But she still worries a little bit about what he might have to say to influence her boys. They're not boys anymore, she reminds herself. They have minds of their own. It's up to them to decide whether they can accept this or not. Just then she hears the ringtone of the Skype call, and so she connects to Ricky and puts on her video link. "Hi Mum, how are you doing?" asks Ricky in his usual laid-back kind of way. "I'm grand, Ricky. How about you and Samantha? Everything still okay? Is Samantha fully recovered now?" "Sure, she's fine," says Ricky. "She's back at work now. She gets pretty tired in the evenings, but she's getting there." They chat for a few more minutes before Mary finally finds the courage to say, "Ricky, I need to speak to you about something important that's happening in my life, and I'm worried that you might not like it or approve of it." "Geez, Mum, have you met another fella? It's about time. I mean, look at Dad. He didn't hang about, did he?" "Ricky, it's not another man. It's a woman." There was a long silence on the other side, and Mary watched Ricky's face to try and read what he was thinking. She could see from her own image that he had flushed scarlet. Eventually, after what felt like to Mary an epoch in time, Ricky said, "Well, if that's what you really want, Mum, I mean, if you're really sure. It's just a bit of a shock, that's all. Who is this woman? Where did you meet her? It's not that friend from Portugal who's staying with you, is it?" "Yes, it is," replied Mary, thankful that things seemed to be going better than she had dared to hope. "We've been getting closer for some time now, and I finally discovered that I much prefer having a relationship with a woman than with another man. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change a thing with your father because without him I wouldn't have had you and John. But from now on, no more men." "Wow, that's quite a shift, Mum. I mean, I don't mind, I really don't. But are you sure it's right for you? It's not just because Dad did the dirty on you, is it? I mean, you haven't gone anti-man, have you?" "No, dear, nothing like that at all. It has almost been as much of a shock to me as it appears to be to you. But if you must know, I have been seeing a counsellor about this, and I'm finally ready to come out, as they say. Well, to you and John at least. Everyone else can wait a while longer," Mary laughs. The relief she is feeling is profound. Mary and Ricky talk some more, and she sounds him out about his brother, but she knows that the boys aren't as close as they used to be, so it doesn't really help. "Still," thinks Mary, "one down and one to go. If it's this easy with John, I will be very happy. But I know that John is very different to his brother, much more like his father. So we'll just have to see." She is nevertheless feeling quite buoyed up by Ricky's reaction, and she can't wait to share this with Marissa. In number 23, Kira is getting ready to go out. Since turning 18, Kira's parents, Rosa and Connor, have pretty much let her come and go as she pleases. but they are both pleased that she still keeps them informed about what she is doing and who she is with. To a point, anyway. Ciara has been seeing a guy who is 3 years older than her, and this piece of information she has not shared with her parents. She knows that they care, but she is worried that they will make a big deal out of it if she tells them. She is afraid that they will want to meet him, which she reads as vet him, and then she'll get the talk from her mum. It's a bit late for that kind of talk, thinks Ciara, but mum doesn't need to know that. Not yet, anyway. It was too late almost a year ago. Ciara and her close friend Claire often discuss in amazement just how little their parents actually know about what is going on with them and with the young people in general. It's as though they don't really want to know, and that's just fine with Ciara. "What time do you think you'll be back, Ciara?" asks Rosa from the kitchen. "Don't wait up, Mum. We're going to a gig at the barn, and I may decide to stay over with Claire." "If I do, I'll give you a call to let you know," calls Ciara as she heads for the front door. "Thank you. You know we appreciate you letting us know where you are. Have a nice evening," calls back Rosa. She hears the front door close quietly behind her daughter. She has her suspicions that Ciara is seeing someone else other than Claire, but she doesn't want to push her daughter to tell her. She just hopes that Ciara will say something to her before it develops into a rather more serious relationship. Rosa doesn't want to voice her concerns to her husband, Connor, because as a father he is more protective of his only daughter than she is, and she knows that his protective behaviour is only likely to push Ciara further away from them. Ciara has no idea that her mum is suspicious, and she feels guilty for not telling her the whole truth. It's not a big omission, she tells herself. "I am meeting up with Claire," she justifies, "but then we're both going to meet our boyfriends at the gig, and I don't know how that will develop. So I couldn't really tell her more than I did, because I don't know yet." Ciara feels better having justified her actions to herself, and is happy to find out that Claire has said much the same thing to her mum. It's lucky that they are such good friends and can cover for each other when necessary. Ciara was worried that when the family moved to Relationship Road, she wouldn't be able to meet up with Claire like they had always done. But just before the coronavirus had changed the world, Claire had passed her driving test, and so she has been able to visit quite often. The girls' relationship has gotten even stronger. They have both been accepted to the same university, and they are planning to share the same accommodation. The only difference is that they will be studying different courses. Life is pretty good for Ciara at the moment, though she has some concerns about her future with her boyfriend Alan. He dropped out of university after his first year, but he found a job as a salesperson in a large furniture store and appears to be making a good impression there. He has recently been given a small promotion and pay rise, and he is happy with his job and clearly ambitious. Ciara, however, is worried about how their relationship will survive once she is away at university. It won't be possible for her to come home every weekend, and when she does, her parents will expect her to spend some of the time with them. Right now she feels rather conflicted. She really likes Alan, but he is pushing her to spend more time with him, not less, and he seems to want them to get a place together. Ciara knows that she's not ready for that level of commitment, but at the same time she doesn't want to lose him. He makes her feel like a princess, and she simply loves it. Never mind, she tells herself. No need to worry about any of that tonight. There are 3 different local bands playing at the barn, so I'm just going to enjoy the gig. If you have something you would like to share, or a concern you would like addressed, please send it in and we will try and incorporate it into the future storylines. Tune in again for the next episode of Relationship Road.
Welcome to Relationship Road, where people live just like me and you, alone or together in all kinds of weather, and most of them are scared of this flu. What's going on?